I'm Azaria Tagaya and you're watching Nightline, news making the headlines. Government to expand social protection for workers beyond office hours. And MECC freezes 70 million ringgit in accounts in tire smuggling crackdown. Good morning. The government will soon expand social protection coverage to include workers outside of official working hours under the Non-Occupational Accident Scheme or SKBBK. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the move takes into account changing work patterns and flexible working arrangements in today's economy. Speaking at the 2025 World Social Security Forum in Kuala Lumpur, Anwar said the expanded protection recognizes that accidents can occur at any time and not only during office hours.
This stems from a realization that the pressures of work do not stop at the factory gate or the office door. In an age of flexible and remote arrangements, this reform will align protection with the realities of how people work and live today.
The Human Resources Ministry earlier said the scheme would also cover accidents unrelated to work duties and those not directly connected to employment. To enable this, amendments will be made to the Employees Social Security Act to introduce a new section specifically addressing the SKBBK. The Prime Minister added that the government is also working on broadening social protection coverage for workers outside the existing safety net, guided by the Islamic concept of Baitul Mal, which ensures equal access to assistance for the poor and underprivileged. At another event, the Prime Minister stressed that the government has no plans to impose entry fees on private vehicles entering city areas in the near future. He said such a move could only be considered once the country's public transportation system reaches an optimal standard. Speaking at the launching ceremony of the Gombak Integrated Terminal or TBG, Anwar said the government's main priority is to develop an efficient, integrated and people-friendly public transportation network.
Kerana bagi mereka, bas masa itu yang disediakan itu tidak memenuhi keperluan mereka. Dan kesesakan bas itu sangat tidak menyenangkan. Tetapi pengangkutan awam seperti yang disediakan hari ini itu berbeda.
Anwar said efforts are ongoing to encourage more Malaysians to shift to public transport, especially ahead of the completion of the East Coast Rail Link ECRL project. The TBG can accommodate up to 1,500 bus trips daily across Peninsular Malaysia, as well as routes to Singapore and Hat Yai in Thailand. The global Sumud flotilla is expected to enter the red zone of Palestinian waters on Thursday. The aid convoy entered the yellow zone at around 9:30 p.m. Malaysian time on Monday and is currently about 300 nautical miles from Gaza. Sumud Nusantara Flotilla Command Centre SNCC Director General and spokesperson Datuk Sani Arabi Abdul Alim said the Alma was the first vessel from the flotilla to enter the yellow zone. One of the fleet's boats, Johnny M, was forced to withdraw from the humanitarian aid mission after sustaining a leak in its engine room. However, he confirmed that all participants from the vessel, including 6 Malaysians, were safely transferred without incident and are in good health.
Semua peserta kapal Johnny M telah berjaya dipindahkan dengan selamat ke kapal-kapal lain pada 9 pagi waktu GMT3 bersamaan 2 petang waktu Malaysia, termasuk 6 orang delegasi daripada Malaysia.
Sani added that the flotilla now comprises 46 vessels, 10 of which are carrying Malaysians. It has been reported also that Turkish Navy ships have begun escorting the fleet, with Turkish Army unmanned aerial vehicles UAVs flying over the flotilla to guard against potential attacks. According to the mission organizers, the Turkish vessels have established contact with the flotilla to confirm its needs and pledge support and protection throughout the voyage. Earlier, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said Malaysia's participation in the global Sumud flotilla is a clear reflection of the nation's commitment to global justice, which goes beyond borders. The Prime Minister stressed that true global peace and social security cannot be achieved as long as Israel's continued violations of international law and human rights go unchallenged. Anwar praised the courage and participation of some 34 Malaysian activists aboard the flotilla, alongside others from around the world, stating that it demonstrates a united international stance against the oppression of the Palestinian people, particularly in Gaza.
the involvement of international activists, including 34 from Malaysia, underscores the importance of collective global responsibility in challenging state-sponsored violence and terrorism and advocating for the rights of the Palestinian people.
The Prime Minister added that the mission represents a shared moral duty among the global community to uphold humanitarian principles, thus reaffirming Malaysia's consistent stand against all forms of tyranny and injustice.
The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MECC, launched a crackdown on the tyre industry on Monday, raiding companies involved in tyre imports as well as warehouses and storage containers at 23 locations nationwide. Personal and company bank accounts worth an estimated 70 million ringgit were also frozen.
According to a source, the joint operation, codenamed Op Grip, also involved the Inland Revenue Board, Bank Negara Malaysia and the Customs Department, targeting 23 locations across the Klang Valley, Johor and Pulau Pinang. The raids uncovered tyre smuggling activities and the falsification of import and export documents, which are believed to have cost the government an estimated 350 million ringgit in lost revenue since 2020. Investigators are also tracing other assets allegedly obtained by customs officers or tyre importers through money laundering activities. The source warned that the smuggling of substandard tyres is a ticking time bomb as it endangers road users and could lead to accidents. MECC Special Operations Division Senior Director Datuk Muhammad Zamri Zainul Abidin, who confirmed the raid, said the case is being investigated under the MECC Act and the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act.
Malaysia has spoken out on a range of global concerns, particularly the crisis in Gaza, drawing international attention to the country's growing influence. From demanding stronger action by United Nations member states against Israel to pressing for reforms within the UN Security Council, Malaysia has underscored both its leadership role and that of ASEAN. Amanda Lopez reports from New York.
Malaysia's voice was prominent during the 80th session of the UN General Assembly, UNGA, last week. The Malaysian delegation, led by Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Hassan, used multiple platforms to raise the country's concerns, particularly calls for stronger diplomatic pressure against Israel. These efforts were channeled through the Hague Group and the Organisation of Islamic Cooperation, OIC.
Kerana banyak orang dah kata OIC ni banyak deklarasi tapi tidak ada pelaksanaan. OIC only. Jadi itu jadi saya telah sebut supaya it's time for us stop talking. So we have to do something in order for us to make sure that Israel stop the killing.
Momentum is also evident as more Western countries move to recognize Palestine as a state. The recognition of Palestine by 157 UN member states marks an important step towards ending the illegal occupation and atrocities committed by the Zionist regime.
Deklarasi New York sebanyak 142 buah negara telah pun menyatakan sokongan kepada deklarasi tersebut. Tetapi deklarasi ini saya katakan tidak boleh berhenti di sana saja. Ia mesti dilaksanakan dan mesti dijayakan dengan segera supaya deklarasi demi deklarasi kalau tidak dijayakan peranan bangsa-bangsa bersatu tersebut akan menjadi lemah dan orang tidak mempedulikan lagi.
Muhammad also emphasized that as ASEAN chair, Malaysia cannot rely solely on the UN to resolve the conflict. In reality, Malaysia must take its own initiatives to help preserve regional stability. Malaysia has vowed to keep the pressure alive at every stage, including when it leads the 47th ASEAN Summit next month, determined to ensure that Israel faces global accountability. Amanda Lopez, cameraman and Gunasegran, New York, TV3.
The government will hold a dialogue session with 200 primary and secondary school students next Monday. The initiative aims to gather their views on the government's plan to establish an anti-bullying tribunal.
According to Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Sri Azalina Uthman Said, the session is important as school students are the ones who face such situations directly.
Pandangan mereka agak berbeza. dan mereka pun meletakkan banyak harapan kepada the system yang mereka dibawa supayanya there is an acceptance that there is a problem, dan mereka juga bijak bercakap tentang awareness and preemptive strategies.
She said this after officiating the anti-bullying town hall session in the capital on Monday. Azalina stressed that all online bullying reports will remain confidential, with the tribunal guaranteeing protection for complainants once cases reach the hearing stage. She acknowledged that some students still fear their complaints may not be taken seriously by the authorities. The tribunal, she added, will act as an independent platform for students or parents dissatisfied with measures taken by schools, including private institutions.
The inquest into the death of Zara Khairina Mahathir continued at the Kota Kinabalu Coroner's Court on Monday. The 6th child witness and the 14th to take the stand testified that she knew the reason the 13-year-old schoolgirl was found unconscious under her dorm building on the morning of July 16th.
A lawyer representing Zara's mother said the witness revealed that the student had been accused of theft shortly before the incident. The witness said Zara entered a dorm room at about 10:20 p.m. to meet with several senior students in connection with 2 missing wallets. The witness testified to hearing discussions about the theft, though the details were unclear. 4 senior students then entered the room, and the witness recalled hearing loud voices scolding Zara, but could not identify who was speaking. The witness stated that Zara left the room in tears at about 11 p.m., the last time she was seen alive. The inquest will resume on Tuesday with 2 new child witnesses. The coroner's court will not be in session from October 1st to 6th and will reconvene on October 7th until its conclusion.
Police have recorded statements from 9 individuals following the death of a Year 3 pupil who fell into an uncovered sewage pit at a school in Lenggeng, Negeri Sembilan last Saturday. State Police Chief Dato' Alzafni Ahmad said a forensics team also carried out several tests and a site reconstruction to analyse the incident.
Al-Zafni stated that the 9 individuals comprised the complainant as well as teachers and pupils from the school. Preliminary investigations revealed that the victim had been alone in the area behind the school block where the sewage pit is located. He added that the post-mortem confirmed the cause of death as drowning. The incident on Saturday claimed the life of 9-year-old Abdul Fattah Khairul Rizal, who was reported to have fallen into the sewage pit during a school sports program. The case is being investigated under the Child Act.
In the meantime, Fadlina Sidek said more than 700 out of 10,000 schools nationwide have undergone safety audits to ensure optimal security standards across educational institutions. The Education Minister added that the audit process is ongoing and has shown encouraging progress since it was implemented in August.
Jadi perjalanan itu masih jauh, tetapi kita dapat lihat perkembangan itu sangat baik berlaku dan kita akan umumkan sedikit masa lagi tentang apa dapatan awal daripada audit ini.
The ministry had earlier instructed the Chief Inspector of Schools to ensure that all officers conduct school safety audits with reports to be submitted on a weekly basis. The measure is part of efforts to strengthen safety standards in schools and hostels. On Sunday, Fadlina visited the family of Allahyarham Abdul Fattah at their home in Kampung Masjid, Lenggeng. She assured that the ministry would conduct a thorough investigation into the death of the Year 3 pupil and would take prompt action to prevent similar incidents from recurring.
Johor's property market recorded strong growth in the first half of 2025, driven by mega infrastructure projects and cross-border economic initiatives. A report by research house UOB K Hian highlighted that property values across the state surged 20%, reaching an average of 709 ringgit per square foot. One of the key drivers of Johor's property market growth is the wave of housing developments near the Rapid Transit System RTS Link project. These projects have fueled demand, attracted substantial investment inflows and lifted property values across the state. Despite launch prices reaching as high as 1,500 ringgit per square foot, demand has remained resilient, with premium residential units selling out quickly. Thai Prime Minister Anutin Chanvirakul on Monday outlined his government's policy agenda to Parliament, focusing on immediate action to revive Southeast Asia's second-largest economy. The policies include measures to reduce living costs, tackle household debt and stimulate domestic tourism. Among the economic measures, the Thai government will assist individuals with debt not exceeding 100,000 baht and provide liquidity of up to 1 million baht for smaller businesses. On Friday, the Thai government announced plans to launch a 47 billion baht co-payment scheme in which the government will subsidize up to 60% of the cost of certain food and consumer goods purchased by eligible Thai citizens. Puchong road rage incident, police tracking down biker gang. More local stories after this breather.
Bertindak memukul secara bertalu-talu menggunakan kayu yang digunakan untuk memecahkan cermin.
Kita tengok keadaan tangan dan kaki dia macam mungkin patah ataupun bengkok macam itulah.
Suspek bertindak ganas dengan cuba menendang dua juru foto yang merakam gambarnya.
Kita ada iman, kita ada penuh kesabaran. Ambil tindakan tu dengan ikut emosi.
Caca ni talented tau. Tapi kenapa tak jadi artis untuk drama, tonton?
Bukan tak nak, cuma tinggi Caca tak cukup. Lepas tu duit tabung dah habis sebab langgan tonton.
Belakang! Seorang dadah pandu lalu jadi sasaran polis.
Siapa punya ni? Itu. Ha? Siapa punya?
Baru tengok. Saya baru tengok ni kali. Saya tak pernah tengok.
Kaki lalok mula ketagih dadah jenis piau-piau.
Dia jenis sintetik, macam flavor biasa, vape biasa. Tapi dia sebenarnya benda tu steam. Dia nampak macam biasa, betul-betul nampak macam biasa.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Boy.
Hai. Aku Sore. Istri kamu dari masa depan.
Selain bahasa Melayu dan bahasa Inggeris, Syed boleh kuasai bahasa apa lagi?
Awak tu tanya orang, awak tu benarkah perkara khas dapur seperti ketuha, kualitas teflon yang tercela boleh mengundang masalah kesihatan seperti kanser?
Kini kita dilanda hujan lebat dan ribut. Waspada dan bersiap siaga dengan fenomena La Nina.
Bawa kereta dan motor tanpa tahu situasi tayar. Ini boleh mengundang bahaya. Sentiasa cakna penyelenggaraan tayar kenderaan anda.
Kad kredit ni lawan atau kawan?
Isnin hingga Jumaat jam 10 pagi.
Eksklusif di Tonton dan
TV3.
Welcome back. Police crippled a drug smuggling syndicate following the seizure of shabu and assets worth 1.2 million ringgit in two separate raids in Sarawak. The operation also led to the arrest of two local men.
State Police Commissioner Datuk Muhammad Zainal Abdullah said the first raid took place on September 24th at about 2:45 p.m. along Jalan Tebedu Sirian, where police arrested an 18-year-old suspect and seized drugs believed to be shabu, weighing over 20.6 kilograms. The arrest led to the detention of a 63-year-old man the following day at 5:50 p.m. in an apartment complex on Jalan Tun Juga. Police also seized cash, jewellery, luxury watches and a car during the operation. The syndicate is believed to have been active since early last year, operating by sourcing drugs from Peninsular Malaysia before smuggling them into Sarawak. They also said to have offered 5,000 ringgit as payment for the deliveries. The second suspect also tested positive for drugs and has a prior criminal record. Both suspects have been remanded for 7 days to assist investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act.
The alleged mastermind behind a subsidized cooking oil smuggling syndicate known as Datuk John has been remanded for 3 more days following his arrest last Thursday. The main suspect is expected to be charged this Wednesday with 6 counts related to the case.
7 others, including 2 enforcement officers, have since been released on police bail after their remand orders expired. Earlier reports stated that 8 individuals were detained in 3 separate operations in Kota Baru and Pasir Puteh for suspected involvement in the smuggling network. During the raids, the Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry seized over 11,000 kilograms of subsidized cooking oil worth more than 27,000 ringgit, along with 2 lorries, a 4-wheel drive and a car. Investigations revealed that the syndicate smuggled cooking oil through illegal jetties along Sungai Golok and also used the Rantau Panjang ICQS complex as part of its operations. Further checks showed the 28-year-old Datuk John had sourced the oil supplies from Negeri Sembilan and Selangor before smuggling them across the border to a neighbouring country.
Police are tracking down a group of motorcyclists who allegedly threatened and attacked a driver while on the road near Puchong, Selangor. A video of the incident has since gone viral, with the driver lodging a police report on Sunday night.
Serdang District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Muhammad Farid Ahmad said the incident reportedly took place around 4 a.m. on Sunday near the Batu 13 toll plaza. The 52-year-old victim, a security guard, filed a report at 10 p.m. the same day. A 29-second video circulating on social media shows the man's car being chased closely by a group of motorcyclists. One of the bikers was seen kicking the car's side mirror and trying to open the door, while another attempted to smash the rear window with a helmet. The case is being investigated under Sections 427 and 279 of the Penal Code for mischief and reckless driving. Authorities are also calling for witnesses to come forward to assist in the investigation.
Buletin kills at least 17 in Vietnam. The details when Nightline returns.
Selain bahasa Melayu dan bahasa Inggeris, Syed boleh kuasai bahasa apa lagi?
Awak tu tanya orang, awak tu benarkah perkara khas dapur seperti ketuhar, kualiti teflon yang tercela boleh mengundang masalah kesihatan seperti kanser?
Kini kita dilanda hujan lebat dan ribut, waspada dan bersiap siaga dengan fenomena La Nina.
Bawa kereta dan motor tanpa tahu situasi tayar. Ini boleh mengundang bahaya. Sentiasa cakna penyelenggaraan tayar kenderaan anda.
Kad kredit ni lawan atau kawan?
Isnin hingga Jumaat jam 10 pagi.
Eksklusif di Tonton dan
TV3.
Bertindak memukul secara bertalu-talu menggunakan kayu yang digunakan untuk memecahkan cermin.
Kita tengok keadaan tangan dan kaki dia macam mungkin patah ataupun bengkok macam itulah.
Suspek bertindak ganas dengan cuba menendang 2 juru foto yang merakam gambarnya.
Kita ada iman, kita ada penuh kesabaran. Ambil tindakan tu dengan ikut emosi.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headline.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Lelaki itu lemah. Saya ada jin itu. Boleh tunaikan unlimited rewards. Ingatkan lelaki jin tak cukup satu.
Lagi layan dengan Tonton Up, rewards non-stop. Nak ni, nak tu, semua untuk korang. Langgan Tonton, RM9.90 je. Baru puas.
On to the foreign front, US President Donald Trump will push Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to agree to an elusive Gaza peace plan on Monday in high-stakes talks at the White House. He said on social media on Sunday, quote, "All are on board for something special, first time ever." He said this after holding discussions with key Arab leaders at the United Nations last week. Trump has outlined a 21-point proposal aimed at ending the nearly 2-year war, freeing hostages held by Hamas, and disarming the group. According to reports, the plan calls for an immediate ceasefire, a phased Israeli withdrawal, and the release of hostages within 48 hours. In return, Israel would free more than 1,000 Palestinian prisoners, including several serving life terms. The White House said Trump and Netanyahu will hold a joint news conference at 1:15 p.m. local time.
Meanwhile, in Gaza, Palestinians expressed a mix of hope, exhaustion and distrust ahead of the White House meeting. They also described conditions in the besieged enclave as very bad and a death trap.
الوضع هنا سيء كثير كثير للغاية واحنا خايفين يعدوا علينا اليهود القيت يشتحونا خواتي ولاد اختي قاعدين من نجد الله نطلع على الجنوب بس يعملنا الورقة اسعاف نطلع فيهم هذا الموت نفسه احنا قاعدين هنا شفا وضع الشفا دكتورين بعد ما فيش علاج ولا في مرفاه في شفاء وش نعمل.
Gaza's health ministry said 50 more bodies were brought to hospitals in the past 24 hours, raising the death toll to at least 66,055 Palestinians.
At least 12 people have been killed and 17 others are missing after Typhoon Buletin slammed into Vietnam on Monday, bringing torrential rain and strong winds that tore through communities, flooded roads and damaged homes. Since Friday, the storm has also claimed at least 20 lives in the Philippines, mostly from drowning and falling trees.
Vietnam's weather agency said Buletin made landfall early Monday, triggering waves up to 8 meters high before weakening as it moved across Nghệ An and into neighboring Laos. Rescue teams are searching for 17 missing fishermen, while 6 people were killed in Ninh Binh after houses collapsed. Other deaths were reported in Tan Hoa, Hue and Quang Tri, including a local official struck by a falling tree and a 16-year-old boy who died from electrocution. Authorities had earlier ordered more than 28,500 residents to evacuate to safer areas, while 4 airports in central provinces were closed, leading to hundreds of flight cancellations and delays. Buletin is the second major storm to strike Asia in a week after Typhoon Ragasa battered the northern Philippines and Taiwan before making landfall in China, leaving at least 28 dead.
At least 4 people have been killed and 8 others injured after a gunman drove a vehicle into a church in Michigan, opened fire with an assault rifle and set the building ablaze on Sunday. Officials said the attack occurred at about 10:25 a.m. local time during a service attended by hundreds of worshippers. The suspect, identified as 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford, was shot dead by police in the car park moments later. Authorities confirmed that 2 of the victims died from gunshot wounds, while 2 others were found dead inside the building. The injured were taken to a nearby hospital, with 1 person reportedly in critical condition. Investigators are treating the incident as an act of targeted violence, though the motive is yet to be determined. On to sports now. Cycling. Arvid Decline showed he is back to his best after claiming his 5th career stage win at the Le Tour de Langkawi on Monday.
The two-door pro cycling team rider took victory in the 166.1 kilometre second stage from Padang Besar to Kepala Batas, crossing the line in 3 hours, 29 minutes and 59 seconds. Stage 1 winner Matteo Malucelli and Enrico Zanoncello settled for 2nd and 3rd in the bunch sprint. Despite the result, Malucelli retains the overall lead, holding a 2-second advantage over Decline. Terengganu cycling team's Nur Aiman Rosli is 3rd overall and remains top of the Asian riders classification in the white jersey. TSG also took the Best Southeast Asian Rider Award through sprinter Wan Abdul Rahman Hamdan, who finished 6th in the sprint, while Malaysia Pro Cycling's Izzat Hilmi Abdul Halil impressed with 7th place. The tour continues on Tuesday with the 3rd stage from Gerik to Pasir Putih, covering 198.2 kilometres, the 2nd longest leg of this year's race.
And that is it for Nightline. Before we leave, let's take a look at about 24 hot air balloons soaring over the medieval French town of Rocamadour as part of the Montgolfier festival organised by the local group. I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for watching. See you next time.